Now time to get the DD2 and DD2 Masters Superheat underway. Here's your starting grid. So after yesterday, Frederik Zebbis Christensen will start on pole position. Alongside him will be Nicolas Guillaume, who took 2 solid second place finishes to line up on the front row alongside. Maxime Dirix and Nicolai Christensen, who also took respective race victories yesterday. Christensen leads the way in DD2 Masters. They complete row 2. Jules Cousin and Nikita Genza ran out row 3, with William Christensen and Maxime Scherko completing the top 4 rows. Rounding out the top 10, it's Hannes Morin and Germany's Mats Johan Overhoff, with Thomas Birstens and Imke Arts row 6, Ragnar Veres and Victor Frostbay row 7. Row 8, Noah Hipp and Martins Janowskis, Dylan Lahaye, Rafael Jesus, Thomas Rudokas, Victor Sendin and Kian de Brandt round out the top 21 drivers. Completing the 36-strong grid will be Luca Neuenhausen, Louis Koch, Michael Becker, Karl Clebor, Camille Kubera, Jan Eckstein, Axel Goes, Lucas Dolizal, Brian Anker, Niels Böhler, Christophe Capitain, Thomas Peart, Sung Hung Moon, and bringing up the rear of the field, Marco Drittenpreis from Austria, and from Germany, Maximilian Adolf. So after this, we will have the 2 senior superheats, which will take us nicely to the lunch break. And after that point, once everything has been confirmed and ratified, reference the results and the final intermediate result, we will then have our top 144 overall drivers out of 194 that came here this weekend going through. Now we up the ante again. Instead of 10 minutes, it's 12 minutes, plus an additional lap. A capacity total grid of 36 drivers, incorporating both DD2 and DD2 Masters, about to go into battle for the penultimate time this weekend. Out of the final corner, they accelerate. Lights are on the gantry. Lights are out. We're underway in the superheat. Frederik Zebbis Christensen leads the field into turns 1 and 2 as everyone jockeys for position. Maxime Dirix finds himself behind Nicolai Christensen and drops to 4th. Also, one has a bit of a moment going on to the outside grass and dirt off of turn number 4. And look at the traffic jam coming through turn number 6. 3 wide towards the back end of the field, and there's one up and over the right-hand side of another cart. One is off, and that is the 409 of Brian Anker from France. So it is an RS competition, 1-3 at the moment, with the leaders in both the respective DD2 and Masters classes, 1st and 3rd. Frederik Zebbis Christensen leads the way after the opening lap, as they come across the stripe at a big run of speed. Nicolas Guillaume 2nd, Nicolai Christensen 3rd, Maxime Dirix in 4th, ahead of Maxime Scherko, Nikita Genza, Jules Cousin, William Christensen, Hannes Morin and Mats Johan Overhoff continue to round out the top 10. Into turn 6 and onto the Europlan here on lap 2. And here comes the slingshot move that I think even Nicolas Guillaume was not expecting, because now, oh dearie me, Guillaume trying to get through on Christensen, gets an opposite amount of sideways at the back axle by trying to muscle his way past, and there's the wave of the finger to Nicolas Guillaume from Nicolai Christensen saying, no, 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 you know better than that. And DD2 up the inside of his former teammate through at the final corner. We did see one run off wide. It was a Dams Racing kart, and it was Jules Cousin. And now it's time, at this moment in time, Nicolas Guillaume is starting to hemorrhage a couple of places who are all there. So leading the way, it's Fredrik Zebis Christensen, Nikolai Christensen P2, leading Masters. Then it's DD2 as launch up the inside. That was Hannes Morin on Nikita Genza. Great move there by the Swede. Guillaume finds himself behind Maxim Shurko, who's currently running P4. Down into turn 10 they go once more. 9 minutes and 23 seconds plus an additional lap, and Zebis Christensen has got a little bit of daylight as Guillaume goes very aggressive up the inside of Shurko to retake fourth place coming through turn number 12. Hannes Morin on the defence ahead of Nikita Genza. Mats Johan Overhoff, who has been running this weekend with a slight fever, seems to have got a bit more pep in his step at the minute. He's now 8th ahead of William Christensen, and Victor Frostbait has moved up from 14th on the grid and is currently rounding out the top 10. And DD2 has got through on Nikolai Christensen. So now he's got 8.5 minutes to go and chase down the race leader. DD2 has been putting in the fastest lap of this race, 55.488. Engine troubles yesterday for the 499. But let's see how quickly can DD2 get his head down and close that gap. The distance between Zebis Christensen and DD2 is 8.5 tenths. Guillaume now has to be very, very careful what he does. Decides to look for the move up the inside of turn 6 on Nikolai Christensen. There was just about enough room for him to try and do that. He then covers off Maxim Shurko down the Europolan into turn 7 and holds on. But this has brought Hannes Morin into play. And also Nikita Genza. Mats Johan Overhoff has lost out to William Christensen. Victor Frostbait rounds out the top 10. So we are about to complete another lap. And let's see if the gap has dropped between the top two. Is it 8.5 tenths of a second? It's 9 tenths. So there is pace that Zebis Christensen has in the tank. Fastest lap of the race. Oh, well, that's a surprise. Louis Koch from Dor Motorsport, all the way down in 17th position, puts in a sub-55 second lap time. 54.893 seconds. So coming down to just under 7 minutes to go. And Zebis Christensen is in complete control for now. As Nikolai Guillaume goes up the inside of Nikolai Christensen, Maxim Shurko went to the outside and got the job done through turn number 11. Now it's opened the floodgates. Hannes Morin gets through. So does Nikita Genza. So does William Christensen. And it's not really a big old worry at the moment for Nikolai Christensen, because the next DD2 Masters driver is all the way down in 23rd, and that's Christophe Capitan from France. But I'm sure there was a little bit of a smile on Robert Schlunsen's face when he saw both Fredrik and also Nikolai leading a 1-2 and also leading their respective classes at the sharp end of an ultra-competitive field. But that gap between first and second is dropping. I can visibly see it. Dylan LaHaye makes a move. I think there might have been a Mats Johan Overhoff through into turn number 10. That gap has been nigh on halved. It's 4 tenths, just over 4 tenths. Maxim DD2 put in an absolute flyer, 55.079. Zebis Christensen, nearly a 55.5 as Thomas Rudokas is having to fight a little bit as well. Has just been passed by Noah Hip in the 414. Thomas Dorcas, I think, might be the youngest DD2 driver on the grid. Has also been racing in the Baltic competitions, so RMC Nordic, RMC Latvia and Lithuania as a DD2 driver. Last year in the more conventional, more international championships, he was running as a junior. So with increased sunlight hitting the circuit, it also is bringing increased temperature to the surface of the tarmac on the track. It's now half a second. Dylan LaHaye is now the fastest driver out there. There has been a change as the 405 of Imke Arts has just got through on DD2 Masters class leader Nikolai Christensen, and that is for 9th overall. So with 4 minutes to go, there is still an opportunity for Maxim Didix to close that gap of just over half a second to Fredrik Zevis Christensen. But Nicolas Guillaume has got a little bit of pace. Hannes Morin up the inside of Maxim Shirko for 4th place through the final corner. Super Swede back at it again. And great to have him once again on the grid. So just under 3.5 minutes to go. Hannes Morin started down in 9th place and has made up 5 positions to round out the top 4. Imke Arts closing in, I think that's on Victor Frostbay, just in front in the 430. Sherko is not going to be phased by someone as experienced in Rotax like Hannes Morin. People might remember the Morin Racing Academy, which had members such as Hannes, also the likes of 2-time European Rotax senior champion Matilda Olsson. So the gap has stabilised between first and second to around half a second, but a lunge and a half. That's a great move from Imke Arts right through on Victor Frostbay. And here comes Dylan LaHaye trying to get through as well through the triple left-hander complex at turns 3, 4 and 5. So Imke Arts nearly opened the door for Nikolai Christensen to overtake his RSC stablemate. As Imke Arts runs a little bit wide coming out of turn 7 and heading into turn 8, but still holds her ground. Multi-time qualifier for the Grand Finals for Team Netherlands. As Dylan LaHaye looks up the inside, that's through at turn number 10. And not only did Dylan LaHaye get through on Nikolai Christensen, so did Ragnar Virus. As it could be very close here between stablemates at RS competition, but Hannes Morin had the presence of mind and the confidence to keep it pinned round the outside of William Christensen. There is a kart with a noisy exhaust, I've just heard. Could be Sung Hung Moon possibly, that's just crossed the line. But what an entertaining battle it has been so far over the past 10 3/4 minutes. We've got just 1 minute and 10 to go, plus an additional lap of this DD2 and DD2 Masters Superheat. And it's coming down towards the top 3 as who will pick up the win. It might not be Sung Hung Moon that has got the noisy exhaust. Someone has. No sign of a mechanical black flag being shown yet. So they may still be identifying the kart. Right, 422 has just picked up a 5-second penalty. That's William Christensen. Now gets a 5-second time penalty. It could either be for a push to pass, advantage by contact, or braking formation with all 4 wheels out of the tram lines. So this puts Nikita Genza provisionally up into P6. The leaders now making their way through into turn number 12. As we are going to be nip and tuck across the line. 2 to go with 2 seconds remaining. And now Maxime Dirix has gone quicker by nearly a tenth and has chopped that gap down to 0.4 of a second. Guillaume is 6.5 tenths behind the race leader. Going on to the penultimate lap, lap 14 out of 15. And Dylan LaHaye has got through on William Christensen, who with a 5-second time penalty will be dropping towards the bottom part of the top 15. So next time around, we're going to get the final lap board for the Superheat for DD2 and DD2 Masters. It's Fredrik Zebis Christensen who looks a little bit sideways coming through out of turn number 12. And now the final lap is underway. Dirix is now within 3.5 tenths. And he's got to be a little bit braver, a little bit later on the brakes, and also a bit more committed, like he was just then in turn 3. Now into turn number 6 for the final time. Tighter on the apex again, once more from Maxime Dirix. But it is going to be very, very close indeed as to who is going to finish ahead of who, because it's the run out of turn 9 for the final time. Through into 10. 2 more corners to go. And Fredrik Zebis Christensen continues his 100% win streak. The Dane does it again. Zebis Christensen wins ahead of Dirix, with Guillaume rounding out the top 3. Covered by 0.6 of a second. There's your Superheat winner overall, Fredrik Zebis Christensen from RS Competition. Ahead of Maxime Dirix, Nicolas Guillaume, Maxime Shurko. What a drive again from Hannes Morin from P9 to 5th. Ahead of Nikita Genza. Dylan LaHaye up 10 places, starting 17th, finishing 7th ahead of William Christensen, Ragnar Virus, and Mats Johan Overhoff round out the top 10. Nikolai Christensen wins again and continues his 100% win streak in DD2 Masters, finishing 11th. Ahead of Thomas Birsins, Noah Hipp, Imke Arts, Victor Sendin, Martin Zianovskis. With Jules Cousin, Thomas Rudokas, Kian de Brandt, and Louis Koch rounding out the top 20. Fastest lap of the race went to Dylan LaHaye with 3 laps to go, with a 54.587. Christophe Capitain was second in DD2 Masters, 21st overall. Head of Marco Tredenpreis, a great run from the Austrian. Started down in 35th, finished 22nd ahead of Carl Knebor, who rounds out the top 3 in Masters, with Rafael Jesus, Axel Goes, Jan Eckstein. Then we've got Brian Anker, Luca Neuenhausen, Michael Becker, Thomas Piet, Niels Böhler, Lucas Dolizal, Maximilian Adolf, Camille Kubera, Sung Hung Moon, and Victor Frostbay, retiring with 4 laps to go.